Rosie, low and slow cooked duck leg is one of my favourite things. In fact, everything's my favourite thing, but there's nothing beats a couple of duck legs or 4 duck legs cooked low and slow. They fall apart off the bone. They taste delicious. All the things I love about duck.
You really love this, don't you?
I do. Yeah. It's my thing. Now, grab that pepper mill over there.
Yep.
I want you to put a lavish amount of pepper all over the duck there like that. And I'll go round it with some salt as well. And then we'll turn it over because we want to make sure there's plenty of salt and pepper or seasoning all over the duck because salt loves duck. Duck loves salt and it also loves a lot of pepper. That's what's going to bring out the flavour.
Lavish enough?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Plenty of pepper on there, plenty of salt on there. And I've got a pan over here which will be my duck rendering or searing pan. And I'm going to use this pan here for the other stuff. But we'll get to the duck first. Now, olive oil goes in there, a good splush of extra virgin olive oil in there. Now, when you are cooking a duck leg, you will notice a lot of fat will come out of it. That is good fat. That is tasty fat. That is fat that will make everything flavoursome, and that's really important. Hear that sizzle as well, Rosie?
Yeah.
Do we love that sizzle? When we're cooking duck, we want to hear plenty of sizzle because we're going to make it nice and crispy on the outside and render that fat down. Now, Rosie, I have 3 large field mushrooms. These are Swiss browns here. I'll slice these and you're going to slice these little button mushrooms. I'll tip them all out. Make sure they don't go everywhere. You're going to slice them in half for me.
Yep.
And in the other pan here, I'm going to get the rest of the stuff ready, or the rest of the gear ready for the duck, which is the sauce, the liquid that it's going to slow braise in and become flavoursome.
Lovely.
You're loving it already, aren't you?
I'm loving it. Well, see, I'm just relaxed. I'm barely talking, so I'm just so relaxed in this slow day we're having.
Well, that's what I love about this sort of cooking. You know, you take your time, you put some music on, you know, gather your great friends around you and you can all cook together. Now, Rosie, it doesn't matter what mushrooms you use, and even if you don't like mushrooms, you don't have to use them, but these mushrooms give it a lovely flavour. Yeah. Now, I've just thrown the onions into that pan. It is a really, really red-hot pan, so I'll add some oil to it in a second and you'll see it get a real sizzle. This is a great way of using a hot pan. If you think it's really hot and you put oil in it straight away, it burns. But if it is really hot like this, you can throw everything into it and then pour the oil into it. And that way you're in full control. Now, listen to that sizzle.
It's safer too, so it doesn't spit back, does it?
Exactly. I'll stir that around like that and give it a bit of a toss. I'll reach over here and grab some salt. And Rosie, have you got that pepper over there?
I certainly do.
Look at how relaxed you are.
Oh, I'm so relaxed.
Exactly. Oh, we like that when we're cooking. And then you can see with the duck, it's starting to get a little bit of colour. So we'll just leave it skin side down for a few more minutes. We might as well pick these herbs while we're waiting, and then we'll be able to put the sauce together, which is really delicious. Rosie, the duck is sealing off beautifully. My onions are nice and golden. And I'll just put a tiny little bit of butter in there just to melt down. The butter and the mushrooms and the ducks go so well together.
Mushroom and butter is just insane, isn't it?
Now, the mushrooms go into the pan here. And while we're there, I'll throw the herbs in there. We've got parsley, thyme and sage. And I'll just stir that around a bit so the butter and the mushrooms start to come together. Now, in about 5 or 6 minutes, Rosie, the mushrooms will soften up and become nice and golden brown and delicious. But while we're here, we'll turn these little ducky legs over. Look at that. Nice and golden all the way around, sealing off beautifully and rendering down all that duck fat in there. We're going to use in this dish. Now, you could, of course, use that duck fat for something else. You could save it. But we're going to put it all in here with the red wine and all the other things and then get this in the oven, Rosie. They look good, don't they, Rosie?
Really good. Gorgeous. I'd eat that just like that.
I know, that's a perfect dish for you. Now, these have been browned off beautifully. They've softened up and the flavour comes out of the mushrooms when you cook them like that. In my pan here, I'm just going to pour the tomato passata into the centre there, about 500 mils. And then I'll pour some red wine, about 500 mils of red wine, into my pan here. A lot of bubbling action going on, which is what we want. We want to lift all the flavour, all the juices off the bottom of this pan here. In goes the stock there. Give it a bit of a wiggle around like that, and then I'll pour it straight over the duck like that. Now, Rosie, the oven is preset at 140 degrees Celsius. I know the duck will take about an hour and a half to cook. So into the oven we go, Rosie. You ready to go?
Yep.
Smells fantastic, doesn't it, Rosie?
Really good.
Those mushrooms, the red wine.
The colour change too, just dark.
When you cook it with the lid off, it reduces down slowly, becomes nice and golden and dark, and increases the flavour, but it reduces the amount of liquid, which is important.
Yeah.
Now, a little bit of herbage on there, some chives and some parsley just to make it look nice and pretty. The most important thing, Rosie, is the tenderness. See how it just falls apart? That's what you're looking for when you cook low and slow. And I'll pick that little piece up there, squeeze a little bit of a mushroom on the end there, and it's steaming and falling apart. The flavour is incredible, isn't it?
Well, this could feed so many, couldn't it? This is like a Sunday afternoon, get some people around.
It could. But you know what? It's so delicious. I'm not feeding anyone. It's just all for me.